basics on gearing and mixing and warm up temperature, and it's so
but
I resort to sweet text pages still to this day.
But again, it comes down. I think a lot of the shops, I think they're just they're understaffed because there's just not a lot of extra money coming in, and I think there's even a slight part of it. It's like, well, if we give that information out for free, they're not going to hire us. And there might be some of that hidden motive as well. And it's like, well, but if we don't make the sport easier for people to get into, down the road, we're not going to have anybody to hire us.
Yeah. It's an interesting industry for sure. I love it.
So what would you say is, you're also a caddy, and you mentioned Pebble Beach. You moved out here from, you said Vermont, right?
Yeah, at the time, I was living in, I had the idea, so I broke my back in the winter of 98, went out to Cape Cod to work at the golf course for that summer of 99, and then the fall of 99, I moved out to Monterey with this crazy idea. Becoming a race car driver
and a caddy.
So right at the start, and working at Pebble Beach Golf Course now for 20 years, and caddying, and it's what an industry that is too. I grew up around golf, and so I always knew I could get a job in the golf industry while I learned how to race. And one thing I didn't realize is how beneficial that industry would be to my racing, and the networks you can create and keep, and the friendships that I've made over the years through golf and racing, and how they go hand in hand. Turns out a lot of CEOs play golf.
And like fast cars.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's really good. I have a tough time believing, spirituality and I don't know, but if there's anything that's meant to be, it feels like it was. It really, it's really been nice.
Yeah, but I mean, you mentioned earlier, again, the perseverance, the determination. But I mean, all that's very, very, very important. But you're also, on a personal level, a very likable person. I can't remember the exact day when I met you, but I do remember you going around Sonoma kart track. Oh, I'm going to be a race car driver. And it's like, who's this guy think he is?
Okay.
It's like, look at everyone around here that hasn't made it. But you were just so likable as well. It's like, man. And then when you went to the car stuff, and it's like, man, he's doing it. He's doing it. And then when you post on Facebook about the IMSA stuff and the championships and your new sponsors or your new car ride, it's like, here Nick is doing it. And you really, kind of against all odds. I mean, you weren't 9 years old in a go-kart.
Nope.
You don't have the right last name, I don't think. I mean, it's not Ray Hall or Andretti or Barrichello or or Petty. I mean, it's
right.
You don't have the right last name, but here you are, carving yourself out a lifestyle as a race car driver. Kudos to you.
Thank you, Jason. A lot of it has to do with the karting too. If I can give back to the karting industry, is how much I learned through karting and how amazing it was. It was my first taste of motorsports, and how amazing karting is. It got me hooked. It didn't turn me away. And even though it was my first, taste of it, it still is the best, I think, overall. I mean, some of the best times I've ever had have been in a go-kart, in motorsports. And karting for what it is gave me the confidence and gave me the skill and gave me the hope to continue on because of how awesome the industry is and how awesome the family is, and it's amazing. You know, we all have our regular family, and then we have our track family. You know, in the years and hours and summers that we battle it out there, it's just awesome. And so, karting itself has been a big part of this journey.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about the family thing, and sometimes the karting family bleeds into my real family. It's like it's like, oh wait, we're not actually related, but
right.
you get to know people, and you're right. You're absolutely right about the family thing.
There's people that I've worked with at the golf. Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's people that I've worked with at the golf course for 20 years, and I wouldn't think of, you know, calling them up and, hey, can I spend the night on your couch? I'm in the area. But there's people in the motorsports and karting industry, like, you feel like they're your brothers, like, even though they're just acquaintances that, you know, over the years. And I wouldn't hesitate in like, hey, I'm in town for a race. Can I sleep on the couch? And they're like, yeah, no problem. You know, there is that family kind of comfort and family kind of feeling that there's something special going on that is within the motorsport family. It's nice.
Yeah, there's been a few times I've been stranded at airports, you know, not at my home airport, but out of town, and either a quick text or a quick Facebook post, and I had a ride. And it wasn't, oh, I need a ride to the track. It was, no, I'm actually kind of stranded here. Can someone bail me out?
Yeah.
And it's always been someone from the karting world. And for a while, you know, I have my foot in the real estate world. And people ask me, it's like, oh, are you still doing real estate? And it's like, yeah, I am. I still do referral work as far as referring to other agents, but I'm not actively engaged with it. And people go,
right.
Well, why not? And it's like, you know, most of the people I met in real estate as a whole, I don't invite them to barbecues. I don't have them come over. I don't hang out with them on my free time. Now, there's a few that I just adore, but as a whole, it's like, I just don't care to spend my free time in that circle. And then the flip side of it, in karting, it's most of my free time is with somebody from karting.
Right. It's there's something special going on there.
Yeah,
I got an interesting thing that I've kind of come across in the past couple of years is I've always felt guilty in motorsports for, you know, the environmental impact and the financial impact and the risk of life. You know, just in the back of my head, you know, I get so much from motorsports, but I've always felt kind of guilty about all the cost and the, you know, with all the things going on in the world and giving back and stuff. But I found some light over the past couple of years with this. I have one of our main sponsors has this Alzheimer's charity, and it's given me some really good hope and a feeling of kind of giving back to the world, and it's been really nice because it's a charity that's hit my family pretty hard. My grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's a couple years ago, and my aunt is currently suffering from it quite extensively. And my main sponsor, who is logistics, his wife is suffering from Alzheimer's, so he created this wonderful charity to kind of give back in her honor while she's still living. In a industry that takes so much, it's nice to be able to go out there and fight for something that's doing some good, you know, through racing, which is really nice. So I just want to give a shout out to the Racing to End Alzheimer's project. That's a big part of our racing program over the past couple of years. It's been really fun.
Now, is that,
if you go to,
excuse me if I'm off on this, but was that part of your cross-country trip a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was, absolutely. Yeah, so our main sponsor, Philip Franks, he said, well, we're not racing. All the races are canceled, and we have all these people who are, part of the Racing to End Alzheimer's program to see the name of their loved one on our race car. He goes, why don't we do up a road car like our race car, and we'll drive it from Daytona Speedway. We'll do a lap at Daytona, and we'll drive it from Daytona up to Bimmer World in Virginia, and then we'll drive from Virginia to Laguna Seca, and then we'll finish it, and we'll do a lap at Laguna Seca. I said, you're out of your mind. He goes, we're going to do it. I said, okay, I'm in.
Now, how was that trip?
That was phenomenal. And it was pretty scary at first when we first started thinking about it, because the pandemic was pretty thick and all the restrictions were still on. And we were trying to do it in a way that would be respectful to people in the country. And so we planned it a little bit later after the restrictions started to lift a little bit, which was really nice. I think we did it in the right way. We didn't want to, come off as insensitive, but we stopped at a couple hospitals and donated checks to the Jim Nance Alzheimer's Foundation. We donated a $78,000 check. We stopped there in Houston, and then we also stopped in UCLA to their Cognitive Health Services Department at UCLA and donated a check for $78,000 for their. Those are the two charities that we raise money for, and so we had these great missions, and we did a lot of awareness. And the video is going to come out here shortly in the next week of that journey. There's a couple short videos on my Facebook page about that journey, but the main video is coming out here next week. So log on for that at Racing to End Alzheimer's.
And how long did it take you to get from Florida to California?
We could have done it in a couple days, but we spaced it out. We had a lot of stops. We stopped so we did a lap at Daytona, and then we stopped at Charlotte Motor Speedway, did some laps. We stopped at a couple hospitals. We stopped at a lot of BMW dealerships, did some meet and greets. We did a lap at VIR in Virginia, and then we went to Team Bimmer World, and we saw them. And then down through Nashville, stopped in Dallas and Houston for hospitals there. And so we pieced it out over a couple of weeks.
Fun times.
And
it was a great cause
awesome
as well.
Yeah, it was a good cause. We raised some awareness and created some smiles and donated some serious funds to some really, really good hospitals and some people doing some good work in the fight against this crazy disease that steals so many of our loved ones. There's 5 million Americans with Alzheimer's right now, and that affects like 15 million people because everyone has it's a family member that has it, and it kind of steals them right in front of your face. So it's a really tough disease that it's one thing when you lose someone from a disease and it takes them, but Alzheimer's is such a cruel one because it steals them right in front of your face, and it's tough.
Yeah.
But they're making some good headway on figuring out what is the cause of it, and they're also making some good headway on how to manage it and family members and what they can do and tips and tricks to for the family members to cope with it. So sorry to make it all gloomy, but it's really been nice to have that as part of the racing program that we're doing. I don't feel so guilty in the industry for spending so much money just to see who can go the fastest.
Well, there's part of that, but at the same time, you're using a vehicle, again, back to determination and resilience. A lot of people just shut down because they were told to. It's like, okay, we got to shut down, can't do anything.